Hi, you guys. Hello, hello, hello. I am sorry that I am not fully live with you, but I wanted to make sure that I get you this recording to talk about how important, which I'm sure we all know, how important mental health is. So just starting out, my name is Crysta Harris. I am a licensed mental health therapist in the state of Delaware. I operate my own private practice, which I actually haven't announced it really, so this will be the first time, but I operate my own private practice, Crysta Harris and Associates. In addition, I also operate the Black Brown Delaware Therapist Directory, which is a directory that is geared specifically for Delaware. We have various providers on there, therapists, psychiatrists, psychologists. They are all licensed in the state of Delaware, and they accept different insurances. They see different populations. They work with different challenges or what have you. But when you go onto that directory, you will only find providers that are licensed in Delaware and they are accepting clients. And if they aren't accepting clients, they have a group practice where they have other therapists that accept clients. So you will be able to find the help that you need. So if you can't tell, you know, I'm an advocate for mental health. I'm an advocate for people basically being proactive, not waiting to the last minute for a big situation to occur. And so that's why I created resources, and that's why I am also a therapist, and why I also started my practice, so that I can continue on with that mission. That Black and Brown people, we are at a disadvantage in a lot of areas, including mental health, right? So not only is it we lack resources in this area, we have limited access in this area. It's hard to find providers that look like us in the mental health realm. And I wanted to basically create a platform and be able to provide all of those things so that it's a little bit more easier and functionable for us to find the help that we need. Today, I'm going to talk about a few things involving mental health. One thing is, let me just say this, because I'm going to talk about some true and false things. You do not have to be going through a crisis to see a mental health therapist, right? Some people think that, wow, I'm okay. You know, I don't have an issue going on. I'm good, so I don't need a therapist. But you do know that you can be proactive and you can see someone, right? You can see a therapist even when there's not a major crisis going on, even when there is not an issue going on. It's okay to do that, because honestly, what will happen is you can learn your skills and coping skills and mechanisms. You'll be able to learn them a little bit more easier when you're actually not heightened, when you're actually not in this intense emotional mode. And also you're learning things about yourself that you may not even have the chance or the opportunity to learn and know about yourself if you're going through a crisis, right? Another thing, just because you see a therapist, it doesn't mean you're crazy. It actually means that you are being proactive. It actually means that you care about your mental health. It actually means that you care about your physical health, because let's be clear, mental and physical health is all related, right? It's all in the body, right? It doesn't mean that you are crazy when you go see a therapist. It doesn't mean any of that. And so I just like to make that very clear to people, because again, there is a major stereotype and stigma in the Black and Brown community when it comes to mental health. So some people might say, well, Crysta, you know, how do I find a therapist? Like, what do I do? I don't know where to start. What do I say? I got y'all. So first, the first thing is, you are able to find providers and therapists not only by the Black Brown Delaware Therapist Directory, but there are also sites out there like Therapy for Black Girls, Psychology Today, things of that nature. So you can find therapists through directories. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, especially when you're in a crisis. Again, you know, when you wait, if you're waiting to a situation to occur, you can get very panicked when trying to search for someone, and it can be overwhelming for that process. But with time, and when you read the profiles, you can find somebody that fits the criteria that you may have. So when looking, you can look on directories, you can ask your primary care physicians, you can also ask trusted friends and family if they are, may know somebody. Also, another true and false, that it is, again, it's okay to see a therapist, right? But it's also, because some people say, well, I can just talk to my cousin. I can just talk to my mom or my dad. It's not the same thing. It's not. So when people say, oh, you girl, why you wasting your money? Or sir, why you wasting your money? It's not the same thing. And I'm telling you, it's not the same thing because I went through years and years of training and years of student loans, right? So I am clinically trained to assist individuals with areas such as anxiety, depression, trauma, breaking generational curses, breaking family dysfunction, things of that nature. Sometimes cousin Nene or Uncle Pete, sometimes they may not be able to, do that. So just throwing that out there. When you find this potential provider that you are interested in, make sure you are looking at what areas of expertise they have. What do they cover, right? You want to find out if they are accepting new clients, because some people are quick to just say, oh, good, I like this picture, I like her. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get an appointment. And then you're disappointed if they're not accepting clients. So make sure they're accepting clients. See what they are skilled in, what areas they're skilled in, see what type of population they work with. You may have your kid may need to see a therapist, but yet you found a therapist that only sees adults, or vice versa. And then the other thing is, see if they accept your insurance. And if they don't, if you are okay with paying out of pocket, right? Those are the main things to look for when researching and looking for a provider. Another thing, when reaching out to this potential provider, you want to either call or send an email, whatever they say their best choice of contact is. And you want to be able to see, if you guys can schedule some type of consultation call, which I always advise potential clients to do, because again, that's another step for you to make sure that this person is a good fit for you. When sending emails, I just posted about this a couple of days ago on the BBDT Instagram page. When sending an email, it's always good to start with your name, a hello, describe what challenges you are experiencing very briefly. You want to ask again, maybe if you didn't see it on their profile, just checking to see if you are accepting clients. This is the type of insurance I have. And if you could, I am available these days and times. Can we schedule a consultation call, or can you give me a call back or an email, give me a call back or send me an email and leave your contact information. That is extremely important, because I am seeing that sometimes I think people are in a rush and they leave out all that information. So to have to go back and forth, it's it wastes time, and it's time that could be setting your appointment up. So you want to kind of get all of that information either on the phone call or email. In addition to how to find a therapist, there's a consultation call, like I said earlier, that you can schedule after. And sometimes therapists, I am one of them, I schedule consultation calls because not only do I want to make sure that I am a good fit for the client, I want the client to be a good fit for me, right? What I always tell people is there's a lot of energy exchange between therapist and client. There is a lot of information exchange between therapist and client. Sometimes relationships just don't work out, right? That's just what happens. But if you can kind of filter through that as much as possible, there's a greater chance for the relationship to prosper. So some questions that clients can ask is, again, have you worked with Black or brown people? Like if it's not a therapist of color, but have you worked with Black and brown people before, right? Again, just because you are Black or brown doesn't mean you have to see somebody that is, of your color. But to me, in my opinion, it always helps, right? So If they're not of color, you can ask, hey, have you ever worked with somebody that looks like me? Hey, have you ever worked with the challenges of ABC that I'm experiencing? Because again, if you are having issues with trauma and you're working with a therapist that focuses on may only focus on children's issues, that's not a good fit, right? So you want to make sure that they have expertise in the area that you are working, that you are having challenges with. The other question you can ask them is, hey, again, how do you operate your sessions? Do you give homework? Is this something where I will only be doing all the talking? Is this a proactive type of relationship? Those are questions that are okay to ask when talking to your therapist. Another thing that I think is important is you can ask what type of, personality style, the personality style that your therapist has, right? Someone like me, I'm very straightforward. Somebody who may be a little bit more timid, maybe a little bit more introverted, they may not do well with the type of style that I have. So I think it's always okay to ask what that is, right? And those are some questions that can lead you to see if this is a good fit when working with your potential provider. Another thing, I'm gonna throw another true and false in. It is okay, I guess not true or false, but letting you know it's okay. It's okay if the first person doesn't work out. It's okay, right? So I guess to turn it into a true or false, should a person stop seeking a therapist or just forget the whole therapeutic process if the first therapist doesn't work out? What do you guys think? Right? That is completely false. This process is a challenge. Sometimes people find their therapist in the first go round. Kudos to them. But again, it's almost like finding your mate, the love of your life, right? It takes time. You have to develop a relationship. So if you can kind of see some red flags or what have you, and if it's just not meshing, then that's not the relationship for you, right? And that's okay for the therapist to say that, and that's okay for you to say that. Another area that I wanted to kind of focus on with you all who are watching and who will watch, here I'm going to give you some signs of a good therapist. So I'm going to give some green flags, like the good flags. If your therapist is open, right? Meaning open as in they are listening, right? It's active listening going on. That's a green flag, right? If your therapist is collaborative, right? They're including you in the process. It's not them just telling you what to do, right? You also want to be included in decisions that are made or brought up in the therapy room or virtual. Another green flag is if your therapist really wants to understand you. And if they don't understand something that you have brought up, they say, hey, can you explain that further, right? I'm intrigued when a person asks me questions if they don't understand, because a lot of people, they go on and they don't sometimes understand everything. Your therapist, if they don't get it, they should also ask you questions for further clarification. Don't assume anything. Another green flag for a therapist is, not every therapist doesn't do it, but if they do give you homework, that's a green flag, right? Because they want you to be proactive, right? They want you to show up. They want you to participate in the process. Another green flag is when the therapist is able to direct you, but again, collaboratively, not just telling you what to do and not looking at it as I'm up here, you're down here. That's not how you want to operate in the room. You guys are, yes, this person has more experience or knowledge in this area, but again, you want to be on that level, on the same level. You don't want to be looked down to and things of that nature. So if they don't do that, that's a green flag. I will also include this, that therapy is a process. It's challenging. Yes, it has been glorified a lot in the news, social media, with different artists, things of that nature, right? But it is work. It's hard work. So you may hear someone say, oh, therapy don't work, or that's not for me. Nothing has happened. They say everything I already know. That's a red flag for you, right? Because if they said everything that you already know, then why are you not doing it? Why are you not doing it? And that's when issues come in, right? You can sit 45 minutes to an hour with a provider, but the important thing is, are you putting in the work? Are you putting in the work? That's a meme. And that's important. That is something that is critical when in the therapeutic room, whether that's in person or on Zoom. Because again, you will hear a lot of people, oh, therapy didn't work. Well, why didn't it work? Were you showing up physically? Were you showing up mentally? Were you showing up emotionally? Did you try the things that were mentioned or recommended in session? Did you follow up with any referrals that your provider gave to you? What are you doing to propel this progress? Those are things that you want to see. Those are things that you want to identify. Because again, it's a two-way street between the therapist and the client. Those are some of the things that I think are extremely important when in this search, right? I've talked to you guys about some true and false situations. I've talked to you about some green flags of a good therapist. I've talked to you about some sites and directories that will be good for you to find a provider. And I've talked to you guys about questions to ask and how to look for what's important on a provider's profile. Again, mental health is extremely important. It's just as important as your physical health. So when you guys go get your dental work, your glasses appointment, your annual appointments, any other appointments that you're supposed to be go getting, because everybody should go get those when they're supposed to, right? Mental health should also be included in that. And sometimes it's very separate and it shouldn't be. My thing is, you want to be at your best. And if mentally and emotionally you're thrown off, that literally throws off the whole body. And these are reasons why it's important and why I like to highlight mental health like so much. Literally every day, I'm talking about something that has related to mental health every day. If you guys have any further questions for me, you can reach me a few different ways. You can follow me on social media at BBDT_directory. And that name is for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. You can also send me an email. You can also send me an email at blackbrowndelawaretherapist@gmail.com. You can send that email if you click onto the directory and you have some have some issues, or you want to have further questions about the directory. You can also send me a personal email at Crysta, Crysta, Crysta.n.harris@gmail.com. Again, that's Crysta, Crysta.n as in Nancy, .harris@gmail.com. If you have any further questions. As far as me, because some people literally ask me this as soon as I finish with presentations. Yes, I am accepting clients, but I am only accepting Blue Cross Blue Shield and AmeriHealth insurances, and everything else is self-pay. I do not see people that I follow on Instagram, or if we have a relationship in any sort of type of way. So if were friends back in first grade, if you dated my cousin, if we work out together, if we are family, if we are any type of friends at all, I do not see those people, right? Because again, it's boundaries and it's ethics that I follow. So I just always like to include that. But if you are looking for a provider, you can reach out and ask me some questions. You can also utilize the Black, Brown, Delaware Therapist Directory. Again, I am sorry that this is not live. I am able and willing to answer any questions if you have some after seeing this. I wish you a great holiday next week and the upcoming holidays to come, and I look forward to seeing you and talking with you live soon. Thank you.